Hi, my name is James Wallace, and if you're watching this, you're a Facebook friend that's curious, or it was a link sent to you by a concerned family member or friend that is trying to talk you out of getting into the entertainment industry. However, I will tell you that it's a hard industry to break into, especially if you're after certain things like wanting to be a writer, director, actor. It's not an industry where you become a millionaire if you just show up on television for a minute or direct an episode of television. Usually, you earn thousands of dollars for those type of jobs. If you're a producer, it's usually nothing but net, which your movie has to make a profit. However, if you work in television, that's a different story, but it's long hours and high volume commitment on your part. You may not be able to see family, friends, your wife, kids. So there is that downside to being in this industry. However, if you just can't see yourself doing anything else in life and you really want to give it a go and chance it, then go for it. If you want to be an actor, writer, or producer, director, and that is your true passion, I recommend you brush up on a lot of books, film theory, study mise en scene, listen to director commentaries, and on DVDs, Blu-rays, and watch interviews, seminars. If it's acting you want to get into, I suggest working out a lot, taking care of yourself and your health, not taking any of those things for granted, and you know, just a lot of scene study and any opportunity you can get to act, take it. Now, with regards to short films, I feel that as an actor, you can definitely benefit because film is more technological and you need to understand how editing works, camera angles, maintaining your performance, etc. And so you should maybe get with some friends, make some short films with an iPhone, use iMovie, edit, and just see how your performance is. With directors, same type of thing. Just practice, figure out how to set up angles, blocking a scene, making sure it edits together properly. And in regards with writers, you gotta see how your blueprint maps out and how it, from theory to execution, see if it works in a visual format. Myself, I came out here about 16 years ago, and I expected to be a star as soon as I got off the bus, and that wasn't reality. Fortunately, I've been gainfully employed working as a production coordinator for the last few years and working in other jobs in production throughout my career on, successful shows and a few independent films and learning a lot along the way. Right now, I'm on the course to try and be a producer. Joined the PGA within the last year, and so learning a lot through seminars and just trying to figure out film as much as possible. So when I am able to produce a film, I know what the hell I'm doing, and I still write to this day and hope to sell a script. Now, with regards to this short film, I want you to see what not to do. So there's going to be a lot of things I point out. I'll probably make fun of it just out of self-deprecation. And I just really want you to learn from this. The genesis for this was a 17-year-old called me last week to ask for advice. I gave it to him. And hopefully it helps. And hopefully this video helps you and encourages you to basically fine-tune your talent. So to begin with, we shot this film in 2003. You'll see a strong arm production. We came up with that at Pizza Hut. A film by, don't ever do that. Just, It's a collaborative effort. Make a film. Desire Reassessed is the title. Awful title. At the time, I thought it was clever. In reality, it just doesn't gel. This is a college buddy of mine, Mike Gregorich, and he's playing the protagonist of this short named Alec. Now, he's getting up from bed. It wanted him in his physical movements to just portray that he is just worn out. And in a second here, we're going to see that he's either depressed or he really needs that cup of coffee. And it's going by the motions to his job, driving, basically just, want to show that his life's maybe mundane for him. And this building here, it was an office of a commercial director back in 2003. And he lent me the office, but he wanted to read a script. And in the script, he said, hey, there's just a lot of dialogue here. That concerned me, so I chopped out a good deal because at time it was becoming expository, and you want to avoid exposition. Get to the point of the scene with the dialogue, express the characters, maybe a good line here and there, and as long as something's communicated, what the scene's about, and who the characters are, you've done your job. The lighting here is awful. I regret that. And these shots, the camera work were done by my friend Matt, who is seated opposite Mike, and myself at times. And we weren't DPs. So if you can, for your short, if you want to make something semi-pro, get a DP. Get someone that knows the camera and knows what they're doing with photography. That looks like a Michael Bay wannabe shot. We're heading into flashback territory here. Love that shot. And yeah, it looks like that Mike's reminiscing about his past with his girlfriend. And it looks like, yeah, I guess that's excitement to him, just napping, watching TV. A little argument. She says rejection there, and then their hands come apart, and he's catatonic. And those are my parents. And I was trying to represent that he really wished for those times, but it doesn't look representation worthy in those shots. Here he is in break room, and there is Nicole, who's playing Elaine, and he has a bit of a crush on her right away, and that's a creepy look. Not his fault. It's shadows. Again, get a DP. Red is definitely a motif in this because I wanted to represent that this guy was living his own version of hell, and red seems to go along with hell. Alright, now he is practicing his phone call with Elaine. And anyone that has ever had a crush on someone, you know the pressure of those phone calls. Also, we shot this with the Sony PD-150 and used a tobacco filter to get that look. Bunch of jump cuts here, hopefully to help express his nervousness. And the phone, it's from his buddy Mike. I'm sorry, Jean. There, continuity. Watch out for levels and drinks because it'll take you out of the scene when you notice these little mistakes. Here they're playing poker. I needed some sort of business for them so the dialogue can move. And if you look at those cards carefully, those aren't poker cards. In fact, this is the worst poker game I've ever seen in my life. Anyways, I'll be coming up shortly here. It's not a mistake. I'm not a smudge on the screen. Basically, because I play the personification of death, and I'm stalking the Mike's character because he's going to die pretty soon. And here, Matt as John is trying to convince Alec to go see Nicole because she's working at the office, and that basically, if he likes her, he should go for it. Like I'm telling you guys, don't wonder about the what ifs. If you want to try to get in the film industry, give it a shot. See what happens. Have money saved up, and believe in yourself, and hopefully you have a good support system and friends and family. All right. Now, another thing, we used available light because I saw this movie Traffic, Soderbergh film, and on the audio commentary, he talked about how they used brighter bulbs and just available light all the time. So I thought I could get away with it if he could get away with it. Unfortunately, I did not know what I was doing, and nor do I have the acumen of Steven Soderbergh. Now, these shots, the way they're framed, if this was a 235 scope, it would be great. However, it's a 177. I need a bit more headroom, and yeah, it just doesn't work. At times, looking at Mike here, he kind of reminds me of David Schwimmer. Now, this would have been an interesting Friends episode if Ross and Rachel were stuck in purgatory together, and Ross being crazy the way he is, it might have been pretty fucking entertaining. Anyways, she's catching on to the fact that he's just coming there, and that there's really no reason for him to be there except to try to hit on her. And, okay, if you notice in that shot, we went from he's over there and then right back being in front of her again. Know your blocking, your angles, and see in your head. Edit while you're filming, so you can understand what exactly you're going to be giving your editor, and have some extra footage on hand in case things that worked in theory doesn't really work out. All right, now they're going back to her house, which is my mom's old house, and there is my German Shepherd Zeus, and I still miss him to this day. And then my other dog, Rusty, who was a mutt. If you notice, we shot this scene during the day because daylight is somehow bleeding through the windows, even though we have covers over the windows. And yeah, if not much more to say about that, but if you're going to shoot a night scene during day, have some Duvetine on hand, which is a black cloth. The other thing is we really didn't have grips, anything like that on this. It was just usually myself, Mike, Matt, handling the equipment, and one other fella who was the co-producer. So, which is all right when you want to shoot something that's a short film that you don't really see going anywhere, but you're practicing. Here, we thought we had gold with this. We had smell, and that is unfortunately my fault. I didn't know what I was doing as a director. I only did it because I just wanted the project to go through, due to we just kept talking and talking and talking about it, and nothing was happening. So I was like, fine, fuck it, I'll make this thing. Here they're talking about his depression and talking about walking to John's house. The whole setup here is sloppy execution. They're about to get killed. Instead, these two guys, it's just very random and out of nowhere. And it was reshot months later because I couldn't get the actors back due to they're pretty busy, and I while we were making this, I kept reshooting so much that they were probably worn out with me, and I don't blame them. They weren't working for any pay. We thought this would be a calling card of sorts, and now when I make shorts, if it's something that I can do under 1,500, I'll pay for it, and I'll pay my crew. You get what you pay for. All right, here I am as Death. I'm going to be talking in a very unique fashion. Hopefully, it comes across if you watch the audio version. But I do something with my voice where I'm like, one of those days, I've been called worse. And I say Alec's name, Alec. Now, I wanted to try communicate that there was something a bit off with this guy, and hopefully gravitas to his voice. It wasn't me trying to sound like Batman, nor did I have strep throat. And then his interesting way of dressing, I think at the time, my recollection was Death is pretty black and white, and he's wearing black and white, and he's in a suit because he's representing what I guess he feels Alec would see. Day to day, Alec sees people dressed in suits. And he's wearing a French cuff shirt because at that point in my life, that's all I owned for suits were white French cuff shirts. So we're in a basement. Why are we in a basement when we haven't seen a basement before? Because there's some earlier footage that was cut out of Alec basically meditating in the basement. And so we have these intercut shots basically to depict the final day of Alec's life. So we're going to every location he was on his final day. I stole this idea from a Steven Soderbergh movie called The Limey. And basically, in that film, Soderbergh, on just regular scenes of dialogue, would be in different locations, even though it was the same scene, or was supposed to take place as the same scene. It was just an unusual approach, and I thought it could work for this, because I was like, I gotta show that there's something supernatural here, and off, and that's why I made this decision. Now, Mike here, or Alec, is going through a pacification of Death. He told Death, after Death is like, well, you should have, would you like your own world, or whatever. And Alec's like, yeah, sure, I want to be a winner and have my own world, but I want it with Elaine. And Death's like, okay. And right now, there's these church bells that play on an alarm clock I had at the time, hopefully to signal foreboding that's about to come. And here, all right, execution's a bit sloppy, but we had to show that he's figured out it's his world now, and he's the only one in it. And I guess his world only only had a few streets and roads, and that's it. I mean, I guess he doesn't explore any further. It's like, now what if it was 7 a.m. here, which is when we shot it, and that's why it was so empty. And yeah, I mean, you try to communicate these things, and again, in theory, it works, and there is a cameraman's shadow, but in execution, and when you finally see it, it doesn't work. When we recorded the audio, we recorded it with the camera mic, because our intention was to go back and do a sound mix. However, I was never able to find a sound mixer who would work for free nor should they. And it didn't pan out. So my editor, Andrew, who's the last line of defense when it comes to making a visual narrative, did the best he could with the sound, but sometimes things bleed through. Like you'll hear, you'll hear an airplane flying over, and if you listen carefully, you hear kids playing because we're at this park, holiday park in Indianapolis. Now here, Elaine's depressed because her family's disappeared, and for no reason, and anyone in their right mind would be. Whereas Alec here is like, "Oh, this is great," and she's like, "What?" And he's like thinking, "Hey, baby, it's you and me. We'll make a life here. It'll be like Adam and Eve type scenario." And she's, this is just not working for her. So she's like, "Okay, this has to be a dream. I gotta wake up here. There is no fucking way I am going to have a life with you." And Nicole asked me, "Is this really Elaine in here?" I'm like, "No. Elaine's died. She's having her own, heaven or whatnot, while Mike is stuck in purgatory." She's, probably having a great time. And what you are here is the personification of Alec's low self-esteem. And in his mind, even if he was the only man in the world, due to how fucked up and depressed he is, even then, his companion would try to figure a way to get out. Now, this was the final day, and on the final day, we shot probably 20% of the actual short you see here. And I was finally figuring out my rhythm, finally figuring out how to make something or direct something like this. And if I could have, I would have reshot the whole damn thing. But that's the point. You gotta learn from your mistakes and move on. And you're gonna continue to make mistakes as a filmmaker. You're never gonna be an expert. It's always trying to get it right, no matter what. Acting, writing, directing, editing, everything. And finally, you just gotta be satisfied or dread the final project. Wow, she really didn't want to be with him. Carved up her arm with a knife. Imagine that. Anyways, I thought it was better leave it to imagination here. Initially, we shot her in the bathtub in a flesh tone outfit and blood. It didn't work in the end, so the reactions were key. And we're going to my final shot, which is my favorite, where it's almost like a 1980s music video. But I was trying to communicate here, he finally found enlightenment. And boy, that's cheesy. Anyways, if you have any additional questions, you can reach me through your friend that sent you this. And I just wish you luck and, go for it. Because nothing's worse than thinking, what if?